So I have an issue with the way American history has been taught. I know when I was in school, we learned about the Pilgrims and that basically this is a Christian nation, and there was very little history regarding people of color or women. Now we have Black History Month, we have Hispanic Heritage Month, we have, Asian American and Pacific Islander month, and we have a Women's History Month. And in my opinion, it should all fall under American history. So the topic that we're going to discuss today is American history, and specifically, since this is Black Talk, we're going to look at Black history. So, Dr. K, would you please let us know?
Well, Leslie has gave me the task of examining Black History Month. And Black History Month, as far as what we found out, the cursor to Black History Month was created in 1926 in the United States when historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association of the Study of Negro Life and History announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week. And
Negro History Week.
Negro History Week, and I write History Month.
Now,
And how that came about, I'm not sure.
Andre?
So in regards to just that kind of blew my mind. I didn't know it was called. What was it?
Negro History Week.
Negro History Week.
We were
Wow.
Negroes. When we were coming up, we were
I got you.
Negroes.
1926.
26. Oh, okay.
So you
what?
can understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 76.
No.
Oh, okay.
Or
Okay.
1926 was a 2-week holiday
Uh-huh.
observance for Negro History
Uh-huh.
Week,
Okay.
the second week of February. And then in 1976,
Mhm.
it was proclaimed to be a national
Okay.
holiday.
Okay.
And it was observed for the whole month of February.
Yeah, I never questioned it. I wondered why. I mean, I never wondered why, when it started and whatnot. Just always been. That's the gap. My thing is, I think you were calling off all of the different celebrated months for like the Hispanic, the Asian. I don't think we get enough credit, and we never get enough credit. We were the blueprint for everybody else. And yet nobody, like, we get on people about being culture vultures about our music, but it's more than our music. That's probably my only gripe. I think everybody should have their month, but that's my gripe. Show some love.
When you talk about U.S. history,
Exactly.
United
That's
States
where I'm
history,
coming from.
and you look at how we were educated about who we are as a people, who we are as a nation, we've pretty much been left out of history, or we've been downplayed as a people. So has the Native Americans and all of those who have contributed, people of color that have contributed to the history and the makeup of U.S., United States. And I think that's where you're coming from, is that we're excluded many times, or we're not giving the credit that you talked about in our United States. You know, it's always been, to me, that the Europeans have always been the conquerors, the inventors, the starters, the initiators, when that's not always true. And so I think that we need to start looking at how history is recorded, by whom it's recorded, and from what perception that is recorded.
So, my thing, because I have issue with the U.S. Department of Education and with the national, the NEA, the National Education Association, because we talk about reparations. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit later and how that got started. But my issue is, well, instead of reparations, we need to really take issue with the miseducation that we have all been given. So I have here, I'm looking at a PowerPoint that I put together. So, but the 21st century textbooks demonstrate irresponsibility and inaccuracy in the teaching of American history. Now, my thing with that is, yes, we've been left out. However, I have decided the way to describe myself is I am a spiritual being. What is it? I am a spiritual being experiencing a human existence, and I am unapologetically black. Okay? So with all that being said, I have this thing about a oneness, and anyone knows me, I'm always talking about we're one people because we're one race. And this little thin thing of epidermis here, as important, or with the importance that man places on it, I think it's really irrelevant as to the spirit that we have underneath. You know, now when I talk about spirit, I think spirit is important with our nation because I think the soul of our nation is sick. And I think unless we really stop and look at how this sickness has developed, we're not going to get well. Okay, so I look at the way history has been taught, and I look at the racism and the systematic thought that we deal with today in almost 2020, and I think that not only have we been shortchanged, okay, the Native Americans, the Asian Americans, the Hispanic Americans, we all built America. Now, yeah, we were here first. We had no choice. Well, we weren't here first. The Native Americans were here first. But look at what happened to them. You know, if you want to get into the colonization. Yes, okay. That's American history. And see, one of the things when they wrote, the history that they taught us, this black history and Asian history and Hispanic history, it's a means of segregating. It's a means of the colonizers not having to take responsibility for the things that were done, which is part of why this nation is sick. So that's how come when you start talking about racism, people want to shut up. Well, no, let's not shut up. Let's not just look at it as racism. Let's look at how this country was founded. Let's look at the atrocities that were really done and not say, okay, Manzanar and the concentration camps, that's Japanese history, and slavery, that's black history. No, that's American history. And that's blood that's been shed on this land. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that if instead of having black history, now I think for like emphasis on, I can see black history, and emphasis on, I can see Asian history and Hispanic history. But as far as American history, you can't eliminate us. That's just like Christianity. I listen to all this talk about the Bible and should they teach the Bible in school? Of course they should. However, you need to be equal. You want to say how this country was formed. Because if you really you can't eliminate the Bible and talk about the history of this country, because you would be eliminating the abolitionists and the apologists, okay? Because the apologists were your Anglicans and your Protestants. They were the ones that wanted slavery. They used the Bible to promote slavery. Your abolitionists, on the other hand, were the ones who wanted freedom. So, you know, our whole country, the history that we've been taught, it just has been very inaccurate. And I think that we need to hold those responsible for the curriculum and what is taught. We need to hold them responsible, and there needs to be some accountability.